We're now joined by number 12 ranked UFC welterweight Anthony Pettis, and we'll take our first set of questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Stateside Press.
Hey, Anthony, can you hear me?
I can.
So, Anthony, it's been a few months since your last fight. I mean, you were on the first card back for the pandemic. Now you're on the last card of 2020. How does it feel to kind of bookend your year with those two particular dates?
Yeah, man. The first fight back was wild. We were in the arena with like no one in the arena. That was definitely a different experience. I think this time around it's going to be a smaller venue, so it should be a little more comfortable. Getting out there and exchanging it up. But man, it's been a crazy year for everybody. 2020 was a wild year for all of us. But I think for me, I had a lot of growth as a person, as a athlete, and it feels good to be where I'm at right now. I wanted to get on this card for a while, so I was kind of getting in shape and getting ready for opportunity, and it popped up.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next question. I feel like we barely just heard about it just a few weeks ago, but how long did you know that fighting on this date might be in the cards for you at the end of the year?
Yeah, in my head, I was getting ready for this since my last fight. Honestly, I was like, I won 3 fights this year. We didn't get something booked, on the card specifically, like when it popped up, because I initially was going to be the 12th. I think that's what we were kind of negotiating. So I was getting ready for the 12th actually, and then Leon Edwards, I think, got COVID or something happened with COVID and gave me an opportunity to jump on this card.
I was listening to your ESPN interview where you spoke at length about, mental strength and working with a psychologist. My question, you guys as professional fighters and public figures, everyone wants you to know their opinion about you on social media, whether it's good or bad after a fight. Talking with a professional, how has that helped you in terms of tuning out a lot of that criticism and just the sheer amount of it you get every day?
Yeah, honestly, not more of like not the opinions of other people. It's more of my own opinion. I think when you hear someone's opinion and then you let that resonate in your own head, and then that becomes like this driving force of like, man, I suck at this, or I need to do this. That's when the error happens. And I think I was victim to that a lot in the last later part of my career. After the RDA fight, I let a lot of opinions get in my head, and it dug down deep. And I wasn't aware that it was like making my mind drift off during my training sessions, during my downtime fight week. I was like letting these thoughts like dictate my actions and dictate how I approach these fights. And the results showed in my performances. It was a confidence thing for me, honestly. Like once I went back and looked at my old fights, I was letting these thoughts just getting my head so deep where I was reacting as it was a reality and not just a thought.
Gotcha. Final question. How do you feel you match up stylistically with Alex?
Man, Alex is actually a dangerous guy. I think not a lot of people know who he is, so it's kind of like I'm supposed to win this fight. These are the dangerous fights. Like the fights you're supposed to win are the dangerous fights. So I think I got to be stylistic. Stylistically, I think I have a great style against anybody. But I know he has a game plan. I fought one of his teammates before. I addressed a lot of them issues in my training camp, having like a real protocol to getting put on my back, getting put on the cage, having a step-by-step system on how to defend that, not just like I'm gonna fight it off and figure out as the fight goes. So I just feel a lot more prepared in that aspect of it, and I just got to be myself out there. And once I get in that flow and that groove, I think it's hard for anybody to fight me.
Hey, thank you, Anthony, and good luck.
Thank you, bro.
We'll take our next questions from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Anthony. Earlier this week, you announced that you are starting your own company. Can you kind of walk me through like the inspiration for that and how that happened?
Yeah, man, I've been doing this. Honestly, I've been doing it for a while, just not officially. With my younger brother's career, a lot of fighters at Ruthless Sport, and we kind of have the factory to build great fighters. From where I started fighting in a Harley Davidson dealership in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That was my first fights, all the way up to a UFC world title. So we have all the pieces of the puzzle in Milwaukee. And it was something I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's just like I didn't officially announce it. I've been guiding Serge's career since he started. And I think I know what fighters need. I've been with numerous management companies. I've been in all different stages of my career. And I feel like there's a spot that I can give back to these fighters a little more from without getting crazy details, but like, finances, mental health, the right fights at the right time, the ability to get into the big shows. And then I'm also starting my own fight promotion in Milwaukee. So it kind of just all plays in together. So the fight promotion, I have a place to build up my talent, give them the right fights, and then hopefully give them to the bigger shows.
I know, obviously, your own. Are you working alongside them? Are they going to help you, kind of develop this in terms of like building your own stable of fighters?
Not really, no, not hand in hand helping me do this. They got their own stable of fighters they got to deal with, but they definitely give me advice. And I think I definitely still need somebody that represents my career. So I'm not going to pull myself over, on the as the fight negotiation side, but as the marketing side, I'm doing all my own marketing stuff now. I'm doing all my own relationship building stuff. So it's just giving me that insight in how this works.
There are great managers out there, obviously, but we also, unfortunately, the horror stories, guys having money stolen from them, spot deals, things like that. Do you feel like that's a big aspect of doing this, is kind of sharing your own experiences with the next generation? Because unfortunately, we have seen good side, but we also have seen a lot of bad side of management in this business.
Yeah, man, there are some great managers out there. This isn't something where I'm like, there's horrible managers. It's more of like, I think I know the way it needs to be done. And I know what fighters need at all different stages of their career. So like when I'm doing this, like we have 80 guys that we signed currently for my first combine. It's more of a fight family. Like I want these guys to be part of something that's not like, all right, here's a negotiated contract, go get ready, and then we'll talk to you on your next negotiation. We're doing like Zoom meetings. Where that has to be Zoom because of COVID. But mindset stuff, different older fighters that have experience, talking to my athletes, tax accounting, teaching them how to make LLCs, paying themselves salaries, all the stuff that I had to learn on my own, honestly, that I'm giving to these guys right from jump.
And Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, from another interview I saw, did you final fight on your current UFC contract?
This is my last fight on my current contract. So we'll see what happens after this one. And I'm trying not to like let my mind get into that and like, what's coming next. Some people were asking questions like, Dana announced that chopping block thing. I feel like every fight is the biggest fight of your life. And, no matter what, your job's always on the line if you don't perform. So I'm coming with the same mindset as I always do.
So my last question following up on that, I mean, you're a former champion. You're go out there and put on exciting fights. I don't personally think you'd be chopping block, win or lose, but is there a little bit of, we've seen it with certain fighters, they kind of bet on themselves, not that you want to leave the UFC by any means, but if you go out there and put on a second great performance after beating Cowboy and you go out there and beat Alex Morono, are you kind of in a way gambling, betting on yourself to get a better contract next time out?
I mean, our job is to make as much as we can from this, and it's not, it's what you're worth. Like, what can you bring to the table? I know this is a business, so I don't expect I'm not going there like, if I beat Alex Morono in a fantastic way, I get a crazy pay bump. But I'm just kind of like playing it little by little. Like before my career, I would sign my next contract when I had 2 fights left, even before I got to that point. So this time around, I'm just taking it one fight at a time, and I think that's why I chose this opponent. It's not like the next big fight, what's going to get me into the championship. I kind of want to take it little by little this time of my career. I'm 33 years old. I want to do another run at this title. I want to do another run at becoming who I was before as a champion. And I want to do it little by little. I don't want to jump into that next big fight. And when I'm not, when everything in the back end of my life isn't ready. So I feel like I'm putting all the pieces together with the coaches, my personal life, my family, my friends who's around me, my circle. I think I'm getting that part right. So once I do make this run, it'll last a lot longer.
Thanks.
Thank you, bro.
We'll take our next set of questions from Cody Cruz with For the Win podcast.
Mr. Pettis, good to talk to you. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for your time today. You commented that you're in a great personal moment, keeping it kosher, starting new ventures, and exploring new opportunities. What would you feel when you think about everything you achieved in your career so far?
I'm not done yet. That's what I always tell myself. I'm not done yet. I feel like what I've done is amazing. The 10-year anniversary of the Showtime kick was yesterday. A great moment in my career. So I got to go look back we're stuck in a hotel room here with, I'm with Duke and my younger brother, Sergio Pettis, and then Robert Drysdale's in my corner. So we've just been reminiscing on the past, man. Just all the stuff we've been through from the WEC days to my UFC debut to becoming the world champion to the 3 losses in a row. We're literally going through all that stuff together. And man, it's been an amazing run, man. Like I'm blessed to be where I'm at.
Well, Alex Morono expressed that he was very happy to face you. I would like to know how this fight came to be and why is it specifically who you wanted to face?
Well, this fight came to be. I wanted to fight one more time at the and before 2020 was over. I only got 2 fights this year. Usually I fight 3 or 4 times a year. And where my mindset's at, bro. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools that's not physical that I can actually bring into these fights. And the only way to know if it works is to go test it. And they gave me a list of names. The first guy I chose wasn't available. Alex was the second name on the list, and he took it right away. So the way the fight came up is I think Leon got COVID or something happened where that fight got pushed back. It opened up a spot on this card, and of course I say yes.
Regarding your technical aspects, I know it's a known fact that you're pretty well rounded. I would like to hear your thoughts on how do you think your experience will factor in for this match against Morono?
Yeah, I mean, I've got so much experience. I mean, I've grew up on these lights. I think most of my professional fights are in the UFC or in the WEC, under the Zuffa flag. So I've seen all of it. I fought the main event on the card, Wonder Boy, another crazy style that I had to get ready for. So I feel like definitely my experience is going to help, help me in this fight. But Alex is dangerous, and I'm not overlooking this guy. It's like one of them things. Like this is a high stake fight, especially because not a lot of people know who he is, and it's his chance to make his name known. So this is a dangerous fight for me, and I love these kind of fights. It puts some pressure on me.
Well, you are very creative, without a doubt, one of the most entertaining fighters to watch in the sport's history. Where does this creativity comes from? How do you feel about being in this position where now you can be an inspiration for the young and up-and-coming fighters?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like after seeing the Showtime kick and seeing it's been 10 years since then, I'm like, man, that made me feel old. Even though I'm 33, I'm like, I've been in this game for a while. That's kind of like the part of me starting the management company. I think I have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in this game that I can, help these fighters. And we also have a great training camp at Roof Sport that, we have for fighters to attach to. And if they just show up, they can take their career to the highest levels. The creativity really comes from my Taekwondo background, I would say. As a kid doing these flashy kicks and having that intensity to compete and it's a different style than the traditional Muay Thai and the karate style that we see, the wrestling. My kicks are a little different. My flash is a little different, and I've had some amazing moments in my career.
Without a doubt. I know you don't want to talk about the future that much, but the thing is, Cub Swanson said he'd love to measure with you sometime in the future in the 155-pound division. What do you think about this idea and about what Cub could bring as an opponent?
Yeah, Cub's good, man. Actually, I trained with Cub out in Albuquerque. He has some great jiu-jitsu. We did some striking. His last fight, he looked amazing, man. Big ups to him for that last performance. I was definitely rooting for him in that fight. And he faced some adversity too with them low kicks, changed his stance up, got that range. It was a beautiful performance. I say yeah to anybody. I'm not afraid to fight anybody on this UFC roster. I think I proved that in my career already that I fight the best of the best, and it would be fun to fight with Cub.
Absolutely, I would pay to watch that any day.
Thanks, bro.
Well, Anthony, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to talk to you. One final thing. I hail from Santiago, Chile in South America, a place where you have tons of fans. So I wanted to give you a moment to address these fans and probably wish them a happy holiday. I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah, man. Make sure you guys tune in. Thank you for all the love and support. And, happy holidays to everybody. Make sure you watch this Saturday.
Thank you so much for your time, Anthony. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll take our next set of questions from Sumit Beta with Sports Data.
Hey, Anthony. Hope you're doing well.
I am.
Okay, so right off the bat, 10 years of the Showtime kick, and it's right up there as one of the most iconic finishes in history. All these years later, when someone brings up that knockout, what's the first thing that comes to your mind looking back on it?
I can't believe it worked. Honestly, when I threw that thing, it was the last round of the last WEC fight, and it kind of won me the title. So it was like me and Henderson had a good back and forth battle that whole fight. If you watch the whole fight, that's what makes it even more spectacular is how I landed it and what the stakes were going into that kick. But yeah, I mean, even when I threw the kick, I remember I jumped off the cage. I remember I hit him with my foot. I'm like, I did a full 360. I'm like, oh shit, it worked. And I go and try to finish him off. But Ben's a tough dude, man. So it was definitely one of them moments in my career that I always look back and be proud of.
Absolutely. So this is your second fight fighting under this conditions in this pandemic. Has there been any sort of difficulties for you in preparations for this fight, or like any major changes that you had to make to your camp?
Yeah, I haven't done the traditional training camp like I usually do. Like, I'm not doing the team training like how I usually start my camps. I've done a lot of training out here in Las Vegas for just different styles and different looks with the Njokuanji brothers, Anthony and Chidi. Both guys, amazing Muay Thai fighters, great MMA martial artists. And for me, it was just getting a feel for different body styles. It's crazy because I was supposed to fight Anthony Njokuanji in WEC, and now he's kind of holding pads and coaching me. This many years later. So, he's amazing athlete. And then Robert Drysdale is somebody that's going to be in my corner. So I changed up my my approach to my jiu-jitsu and got some new tools and some new body styles, new ideas. And I feel like where I was at mentally, it allowed me to actually absorb a lot more from these guys. I wasn't going in there with the mindset of I know everything. It was more like, what can they teach me? What can I pull away? And what can I add to my game?
And you recently also mentioned you've been working with a sports psychologist. Could you tell us a little on how that has benefited you?
Yeah, I was totally against that, honestly. Before this year, I was like, I don't need to talk to anybody. I know my head, I know my body, I know what I need. My fiance actually is the one that talked me into like going to actually sit down with this guy. And the UFC offers this to all their athletes. So I mean, any UFC fighters, they definitely should be taking advantage of this avenue. And he just opened up my eyes to a whole new aspect of not only the fight game, but to my life, like how I deal with specific situations, like just the I guess when your body's like in control and your mind's out of control, like you're not even present in like certain reactions like anger, anxiety, fear, like all like your body's in like set in these ways of handling them things, and you don't actually sit back and absorb like, why do I react this way? Why do I handle it this way? And initially I started this in like February is my first time meeting with him. So it's almost a whole year with this guy. And we started in my personal life, like fixing my personal relationships, how I react with my daughter, with my fiance, my mom. And then we trickled that into my fight career and bringing back that presence to the training room. Like instead of letting my mind drift, like I always train hard. It's not like I wasn't training hard. It was just like the right style of training for my mentally being there. So like, you get a thought in your head and all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, you're like, oh shit, like how did that 20 minutes pass by? And I'm sparring these top level guys. I wasn't like mentally there in these practice rooms. And now I have the ability, like when I feel a feeling, I can recognize what I'm feeling and then immediately bring myself back to what I'm supposed to be doing at that moment.
Well, that's great to hear. And
Thank you.
you're a former lightweight champion yourself, and you've been around in the welterweight division for a while now. Moving forward, what would your vision be for your career?
Yeah, I was going back to lightweight. That's why I'm already on weight right now. I woke up, well, after my last training session last night, I was like a pound underweight. So I was already on the path of going back down to 155. But this opportunity popped up. So I was like, yo, I got to take this one more fight for 2020. So I feel like lightweight is where I'm going to be focusing on for all next year.
Okay, and one final question. We've seen the Showtime kick, and we've also seen the Superman punch finish from you in the past. Could we expect another crazy finish from you this weekend?
If the opportunity presents itself, man, I'm going in there with no pressure on myself. I want to go have fun out there. I want to be smiling. I want to enjoy this process. Like even the Cowboy fight, I think that was my first fight where I actually got to enjoy the process of the fight. I didn't put so much anxiety and pressure on myself to perform. And I think I'm finding that right recipe to make these things happen again. Like when the Showtime kick happened, I was so focused on becoming the champion, and I didn't have any distractions. I didn't have any old fights to revert to that I had to face adversity. I was like on a tear during that time. So now, like when these like moments happen where I face adversity, I break my hand, or I have somebody gets me with a good shot. My mindset goes back to those fights, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta deal with that before I lose again. Or now I have the ability to bring myself back and deal with the current moment.
All right, thank you so much for your time, and good luck for your fight this weekend, sir.
Thank you, bro.
That's all the time we have for you today, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, guys.